So this is just a bit of a tutorial on session 5, which is I've put as completion. Hopefully you'll have finished it now, or work in progress. So very often you can have things finished, but it's still a work in progress because you're still moving forward with what you're doing in your design work. So really, part of this whole thing is this particular session is devoted to self-assessment. Really, so you got self-assessment to see how you've done and how you've arrived at the particular stages. The importance of how you self-assessment and reflection when you're doing a job like this, and next steps. What you're going to do next with what you've done, really, or how far you want to go. So, what you should have by now is a fairly good grasp of what a theme is, and the theme is the motivation for your plan, your reasoning, and that's the guiding principles that you're going to use when you construct the plan. The sketch, well, that's just how you kind of visualize it, how you put your words into a working picture. Okay. The design platform, that's what I call a sketch where you start to play with it and put stuff on, and it becomes like a test bed to see which works and what works against your scales and the size you've got of your garden. And also the final plan and plant list, which will ultimately guide you or someone else to the construction and completion of a particular project. Okay, so why do you think we need to review and look at it? A lot of people, they'll think, oh, I'm glad that's finished. I don't want to look at it again. That's a shame because, when you realise what you've done quite a lot and you've done it to a very good standard. I don't care what anybody says. It's to do what you do in such a short space of time. Some people take months to do that, and some people take years to really perfect it. So, to be able to get a basic design onto its feet from just an idea, I think is fantastic. So you've got this far, well done. But to look at that, you need to get the best out of this and to improve what you do. I always think there's always things you can do. The first thing you've really got to understand is be objective. What I mean is it's dead easy to beat yourself up about things that you haven't done. Oh, I haven't done this or I haven't done that. And I get that on emails from learners time and time again. And I'm looking at what you have done. I think, well, that's fab, You're thinking of the one thing that it's like a little splinter in your mind, that you haven't done. Let me tell you something. When I used to do the big trade shows, it was the biggest problem. This is my reflection to you. This is the biggest thing that used to drive me up the wall, which was I'd always think I haven't done this or I haven't done that, and I'd have to be physically dragged away. And there's always something you haven't done. There's always something that you can do better. Well, fine, if you can, but the thing that's the enemy that's always sort of chewing at you is time. So we're all working, we all do stuff, so it's time. Whether you've got, you work, you do the best you can with the time you have. So this reflection, what we look at is essentially what you're going to try and do is save time. You'll never, you're producing very good quality work. So all you need to do is maybe use your time better so that you're not so stressed with it. And I think that's the thing as well. So you're going to, what I want you to do is look at when you look at your work and see, oh, that works, that doesn't. And you can make a note. Most people have a little notebook. I don't know any designer who doesn't let on the fact they've got a little black book, little notebook, what works, what doesn't, and they keep a note of stuff. And they will revisit it just to make sure what works as well. Just a thing to, if you scrapped anything, if you filed anything under B for bin, keep it because it'll come in handy. Also review that as well. Why did you take it out for? Why isn't it working? And the thing as well is just so you've got a balanced perspective. What if you can swap it with another learner so you look at theirs, they look at yours. It's peer assessment. They use it in classes all the time. Failing that, give it to a friend, somebody you know that will give you an honest but positive opinion of it. Anybody can. The worst critic is yourself because you look at it and you'll just pick it to bits. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a little task anyway. I want you to find 3 things that you like about the design. 3 things, and write them down. So you might put page 1. What was your just a little summary? Well, this is what I did. What did you like about it? I like that. I like that. I like that. Brilliant. And you know what? That's going to make you feel so good. Okay. So if you are going to look at your stuff. If you can swap it about, I mean, you can look on the Facebook page which I've got, and see what you've got. I mean, I did my Blitz garden, and I really enjoyed doing it. And if anything, if someone said to me, "Well, what do you think?" 3 things I liked about it. I like the fact that I've got an Anderson shelter on there. I like the fact that I've managed to modify a 40s hacked up glass house to be safe and be used now. And I like the idea it's got flowers on it, because no one expects a Dig for Victory garden to have flowers on it. So these are my 3 things which I enjoy, which I put on. Would I do anything different on it? The only thing I probably would do was research a lot of the heritage veg a bit more on the heritage variety, so I've got time. See, it's time. It's always the time that's chewing you. Okay, so swap the ideas around. Just and it's interesting to get your opinions and stuff. And it's no one's going to shoot it down. So just have a little faith and do it that way. Okay, so that's why it's important to review it, and you make notes of it, and then over a period of time you can add them and change them, and sometimes you get stuff that works really well and you can keep it for that. Okay, so once you've done all that, so some of you have got your design absolutely done and smashed out, which is fabulous. Some of you have continued to work on the little finer points and the tweaks and the bits and pieces, which again is understandable, because there's a lot to do, because there's a lot of perfectionists out there. But the biggest thing that I've got from people coming to me is you must learn when to stop, when to walk away. Okay, otherwise you're fiddling with it all the time, and that's when you can make a mistake, or you can change something and you can't change it back. So you'll forget what you've done. So the more you fiddle with it, the more you change it, the more you'll want to, and before you know it, you'll just it's all right. It's often the go with your gut instinct. The first idea is the best one. Okay, 9 times out of 10, believe it. That's the truth. You'll come up with a fantastic idea, and you'll rack your brain thinking, oh, "That was easy. Got to be harder than that." No, that's it. So it really, if you get the first one in, that'll do you. So don't. So that once you've finished it, that's it. Okay. By all means, look at the process, how you did it. Don't start changing the design, because that's you. Okay. So that's something that I would like you to do. What other things I'd like you to do is look at what you would do next. Okay, so what can I do next, Michael, to improve or whatever? I'm going to give you a couple of ideas that I think you should do. So, number 1, there's loads of other courses out there. I mean, we will do horticultural courses to improve your just sort of general knowledge, garden knowledge. I'm going to do a couple of courses online. I'll offer the courses online. I've also got courses hopefully running in the future in the area where we'll be actually getting our hands dirty, which will be fab. Watch out for them. You could also look at the other distance courses. I mean, the classic ones, the RHS courses, they do very good garden design courses, as do other correspondences. And you will find that they will probably do things slightly differently to me. Right? You've got a different perspective. So it's worth looking at those. So, distance courses or any of the garden design courses if you wish to do them. I would also look at offering to do other gardens. Some of my ex-learners have offered to do volunteer gardens. So they've designed them for different establishments and different places. We'll do it for night for you, or I'll help you out. So they get a free design that they can work on. The person wants to do the design with them, and that person gets the practice. So, there's always somebody looking for something. So you could volunteer at a local project who wants the design done, but also if they're doing the gardening, because ultimately, the more gardening knowledge you have, the bigger your palette can be. Because ultimately, one of the things I wanted to do with making you do a proper plant list is to look at the different plants you've got and what you could select. Okay, because the only way you're going to improve your plant knowledge is to look them up, whether they be online, whether they be in books. As long as you look them up, that's important. So by getting out there and getting to know more plants, you'll have a greater understanding, and you'll see how they grow at first hand. So this is the other thing I think. Look around. If you get a chance, when everything's all gone reasonably back to normal, if they have garden shows, go along to them, have a look, take a camera, take a notepad. Even if it's, well, I wouldn't do it that way. Fine. Right, I wouldn't do it that way. But looking at different colours and different things, if there's a flower arranging tent, get yourself into it and look at how they put the colours together. As I said in session 4, you can learn a lot from that. Hence the fact my flower wheel's still there because I'm using it at the moment. So it's worthwhile to look at that. Even just looking around local parks, look at some of the bedding schemes, look what works, what doesn't, look at people's gardens, look what works, what doesn't. Okay. By looking at things in the flesh or in the leaf, if you want to see, then you'll see actually how it behaves. And also you get to see how tall it gets, how wide it gets. Because remember, if the books you use are only a guide, so for example, if it's under the canopy of a tree, it may only get half as wide as it says in the book, and it might take twice as long because it's got a lot less light. Okay, so by looking at different plants and shrubs and things and seeing how they grow, and also by trying to volunteer and get a bit more garden knowledge, also that's a great way of doing a bit of networking. Okay, you know us, so you find out bits of gardens and stuff. If you're always looking for a bit of a birthday present or Christmas, I would probably recommend you get an RHS membership, which I've had, or a National Trust one. So then you can actually see the higher end gardens. But also you see those gardens and you think, well, I could create that and I could do that. Because the biggest thing with what we do here is confidence. You would look at some of those gardens and think, oh, I can't do that. But I tell you what, some of the gardens I've seen are easily on par with that, if not better. There's no difference, so don't be intimidated by that. So if you need to get some inspiration, that'll be the idea. Now, one other thing that I would get you to do, really, like I said, is to do another design. So this is a little brief for you. Okay, so have a look at yours and see how yours works. And if you think, yeah, I mean, you'd want your head screwed on if you didn't, because they're all good. But what you want to do is take someone else's theme. Okay, if you can't, think of another one. Try and be a bit riskier, a bit dangerous. Try something that you wouldn't normally try. To try and stretch yourself and to try and produce another reasoning. I'm going to ask you, anybody who's doing my course, to session 5, that's your homework. I want you to find another theme and write me a reasoning. Just a little one, just so that I know in my head you can continue. So if you had the reasoning, you could do the sketch, and you just keep on going. Okay. If you can find the theme and you can write the reasoning, then you can do the sketch. So I just need to know that you can take a different idea and run with it. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do, is to take a different idea, whether of another learner, you might see a different book. And the reason I want you to do that is because it's very easy to get very formulaic in your design. I know of a very famous garden designer. I will not give him their name, but if you saw their design every year at Chelsea, it's pretty much the same. It will have a rockery done in a certain way. It will also have some cottage plants. It may have a bit of a feature done in a certain way, but it looks, for want of a better word, it's like a horticultural cut and paste. So really, to get out of that bad habit straight away, push yourself out of that zone. I mean, I did like I said, I've done a faith garden for for the Muslim chaplain at the prison. I knew nothing about Islamic faith, so I had to research it and say what worked and what you can use, what you can't use. And I found it great because you push yourself in a different direction. Okay. Same with the dementia. When I did dementia garden, I had no idea that things like shade and shadows matter and patterns. It's only when talking to people in the trade, so to speak, they say, well, these people can't do this and they can't do that. So this to me is one of the most important sessions out of the whole course, which is to basically look at what you do, okay, pat yourself on the back for what you have done, look at the method of what you have done, and then think, okay, can I apply that just like a toolkit to something else? Okay, so that's what really this is for. It's is basically A, well done, you've got this far, and B, how farther forward can we push you, can you go? Because ultimately, this is something that you can develop as a business. You can make a few quid at this. It's a nice little sideline. I know of a few landscape people who do this as for pin money, really. They just produce designs for people. Personally speaking, I've used this kind of what I do here to get work. So, like I said, I've designed the garden, I've designed somebody for somebody. Oh, can you put it together for us? Yeah, I'll get you plans. And I end up looking after it for them, so it gets me work. If you're going to go down the lines of horticultural therapy, etc., the best way really to get under that skin of that is to design a garden for it, so you understand what the plants are for. So ultimately, that's what you need to do. Okay, so thank you for doing the course, and I hopefully will see you again. And if you ever want to chuck a design past me, if you ever want any further ideas or any kind of guidance on it, just let me know. Okay, so thank you very much.